many times what we want from religion is somewhat superficial, and so we see many people want to make offerings so that they can be rich, and many people not being so strict with precepts, and even many people listening to Dhamma talks and wanting to notice which list of Dhamma that Ajahn talk about, if it's the 37 wings to awakening or the 5 powers and the 5 hindrances, and then they think that's the lottery number, and they take down the number and they go and they want to win the lottery. And Ajahn Chah sometimes said, all these people who come and they're making the wish, may I be rich, may I be rich, may I be rich, he says, all they're doing is wishing for more suffering. Because actually a lot of rich people have a lot of suffering. You become very wealthy, then you get a big ego, and you have a lot of staff. Some of them please you, some of them displease you. You can become very attached to comfort, so that the slightest bit of discomfort is very irritating. So, being wealthy, being successful, not necessarily meaning an increase in happiness. It does give one a certain amount of freedom, but it gives one a lot of headaches as well. Other people want your wealth. You don't know who you can trust. Even your children fighting over their inheritance. Quite ugly sometimes. The Buddha says greed is like a river. He said there is no river that floods like greed. It can be boundless if we feed it. So that's one of the dangers of being too wealthy as well, is that you can feed your greed all the time. So the world is a dangerous place in terms of increasing delusion, in terms of increasing kilesa. And the Buddha is teaching a middle way, knowing the right amount, knowing moderation, training in contentment. When we train in being contented, it's like, oh, this is what it feels like to be content. It's really nice actually quite a bit nicer than getting what you want all the time. We get what we want all the time. There's a kind of a heat to that, a dizziness, an intoxication, not very much mindfulness, big sense of self, and very vulnerable. You get what you want a lot. What happens when you don't get what you want? A lot of suffering. There's this growing understanding that that which knows suffering isn't suffering. And there's a growing understanding that if you really maintain your mindfulness consistently, that you'll start to experience a tremendous sense of peace. And that if you cultivate wisdom and you start to understand the worldly dhammas, you understand praise is just praise, blame is just blame, pleasure is just pleasure, pain is just pain, fame is just that much, ill repute is just that much. And you find that there's much less reactivity and more wisdom, and then you realize, oh, this is really valuable, this is really worthwhile. The Buddha says peacefulness is the highest happiness. When the hindrances are weak, when a bad mood evaporates, when you notice the impermanence, when you can be with pain with patience, when you can observe things that you used to react to that you're not reacting to, it's really nice. A real sense of relief, a sense of coolness, a sense of fullness. That's why we do these contemplations. They orient us to take responsibility, to contemplate the truth, and to really have a good look inside, and to find that refuge. And when we do that, we find it's very rewarding, in a very cool, simple, natural way.